you who only know me through this show, first of all, thank you for viewing. Please feel encouraged to toss some coins in the cup while you're here. My primary career is as a film critic, currently employed by the fine folks at Geek.com, and previously, we don't need to talk about previously. Film criticism is a strange business with a weird history, leaping back and forth between strictly reported-focused reviews to the neo-academic revolution of cahiers de cinema, to the famous high-profile public feuding between Andrew Sarris and Pauline Kael, on into Siskel and Ebert and the rise of the critic as celebrity, the internet age making criticism more ubiquitous yet somehow less profitable than ever, and finally into our modern landscape where all people seem to give a shit about is a frequently misleading percentage on a stupid aggregate site. Ahem. Anyway, everyone has heard of film critics, but very few people have a basic grasp of how our idiosyncratic industry works, even in broad, fictionalized for entertainment's sake terms, as they do of even far more specialized careers like, say, crime scene investigators, therapists, television home repair pitchmen, which feels sort of strange, right? Like, aren't the comedic possibilities of someone whose job is to watch hypothetically weird or ridiculous media sort of inherent and in a way quasi-relatable, since, annoyingly somewhat, everyone thinks they can do this job? But yet there's really only been one noteworthy modern TV series that tried to explore the life of a critic, a 1994 animated show starring John Lovitz, appropriately titled The Critic.
Hello?
Hello, Jay. This is your boss. I've just obtained legal permission to hunt men for sport, and I wondered if you'd like to come to my ranch tomorrow. Bring your jogging shoes.
The Critic was created by once and future Simpsons showrunners Al Jean and Mike Reiss, who put the series together originally for ABC along with Simpsons super producer James L. Brooks at a point where networks were still eager to copy the Simpsons' own unprecedented success by hurriedly greenlighting a slew of primetime animated comedies like Family Dog, Capital Critters, Fish Police, and others that all failed typically through a combination of crudely grafting adult content onto standard animation scenarios or adhering too closely to The Simpsons itself. Having noted this, Jean and Reiss intentionally designed The Critic to keep what they had already known worked from The Simpsons, i.e. focusing on characters and strong writing, but also make it as different as possible not only from Homer and the gang, but from most other live-action shows of the same vintage, most notably by setting the action in bustling New York City rather than a middle American suburb, and conceiving their titular main character, Jay Sherman, not as a typical 90s sitcom working-class everyman, but as, well, an educated, well-off film snob.
To quote the last line of Gargantua and Pantagruel, "On y soit qui malibans."
They curb violence, but they allow this.
No!
Ay, caramba!
Now this I understand.
Now, granted, another popular 90s sitcom, Frasier, also featured overeducated windbags as the main characters, but that series typically placed the audience at a distance from the action in order to make the Crane brothers the butt of the joke. In The Critic, our sympathies are meant to lie almost entirely with Jay himself, a smart man stuck in a dumb world whose genuine passion for film had trapped him into a Faustian career path where he leads a professionally successful but miserably unfulfilling life slogging through Hollywood garbage and offering his opinions to an audience that didn't appreciate him.
Most of my viewers are drunken frat boys who like to make fun of me.
Hey, look, he's picking his nose!
The rest of the supporting cast was similarly unconventional. Jay was divorced with shared custody of his young son Marty, and he himself was the adopted Jewish son of a family of wealthy Rockefeller Republican New York wasps. His significant work relationships with his jaded makeup lady Doris and his colorful boss Duke Phillips, a none too subtle send-up of then media mogul Ted Turner. His best friend was Jeremy Hawk, an Australian-born movie star specializing in exactly the sort of trashy blockbusters Jay hated most, which sounds like a trite setup but is actually one of the most interesting relationships on the series. Make no mistake though, the series' signature joke format was in the form of cutaways like Gene and Rice had pioneered on The Simpsons, but he had justified as a glimpse at the bad movies Jay had to review each week.
I should like to live at Howard's End forever.
You mean Howard Stern's end? I just bought the deed. What do you think of that? Any of you girls want to take your tops off?
Oh, I say.
You say, but you never do.
We left Kevin home alone, and he's only 23!
Excuse me, is this Hanukkah Town?
No, it's the Vatican, and I'm Pope Shlomo. Oi.
Which balances out to roughly the same hit-to-miss ratio as a series like, say, Family Guy, but with less incongruity, i.e. there's a reason they keep cutting away to this stuff. As for the love interests, there was not one. It was another of the series' big breaks with then-sitcom convention. Jay was a single bachelor on the make whose experience with marriage had been utterly miserable, except for Marty, leaving him no desire to repeat it in an age where TV good guys were either family men or actively looking to become such.
Now, son, you may just have noticed there was a beautiful woman in my bed.
I won't tell anyone.
Actually, I wish you would tell everyone.
And while that might sound quaint, that brief scene from the first episode where Jay goes to bed with a woman he's only known for a day was considered so shocking, especially for an animated series, that ABC immediately started cracking the whip and demanding censorship notes much more extreme than anything the showrunners had encountered on The Simpsons. But whether ABC was right about the content being too risque for audiences, something certainly did keep viewers away. The show struggled in the ratings and was reported to be widely disliked by the network executives and was not renewed for a second season. Undaunted, Gene Reese and Brooks maneuvered the series into a second season pickup on Fox, angling that the show might fare better with the neophyte network's younger, hipper audience, especially if paired as a companion show to The Simpsons itself.
You know, you look familiar.
I'm Jay Sherman, the famous film critic. I used to have a big show on ABC for about a week.
Season 2 kept the main cast and setup, but it did end up making some changes based on the negative reception they'd gotten on ABC. Jay's character stayed the same, but his design got softened and made more teddy bear-like to make him more appealing to the audience, and parts of his background life, most notably the designs for his apartment, got reworked to look less wealthy and more relatably working class, even though Jay himself stayed in the same job at presumably the same pay. The biggest change, however, was ditching Jay's controversially enthusiastic bachelorhood in favor of a long-term will-they-won't-they budding romance with Alice Tompkins, a fellow divorcee from Tennessee voiced by actress and longtime activist Park Overall, whom Jay befriended in the first episode of the new season.
If there's anything I could do to cheer you up...
Jay, did that hurt?
No, but this will. Ow, ow.
According to some accounts, the writers had pitched What If Jay Saves a Single Mom Who Drops Her Groceries in the Rain as a sarcastic joke about how trite the network-desired relationship was, only to have the Fox producers declare, oh yeah, that's exactly what we want.
Mama, the stranger's coming. Don't worry, I've got my pepper spray.
Jalapeno. Look, I just wanted to offer to share my cab.
Alice is a divisive character among the critics' fan base, with some enjoying her presence while others seeing it as the main element that makes Season 2 inferior to Season 1. For my part, it's tough, because she's a well-written, well-performed character who adds interesting nuance to the proceedings, but yeah, I can't disagree that Season 1 is a better, more interesting, more original production, and Single Jay is a big reason why. Also, Alice's presence does leave the earlier voice of reason character of Jay's younger sister Margot with a lot less to actually do, so yeah. On the other hand, many consider the Season 2 episode featuring supporting guest appearances by Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert to be the best episode of the entire series, and I'd be hard-pressed to disagree with that.
This from the man who liked Benji the Hunted?
Hey, you like Carnosaur?
Well, I'll bet you'll like this.
Cue ball in a side pocket.
The way he said thumbs up.
The way he said thumbs down.
The way he said goodbye.
Well, Gene, I thought some of the parodies were funny, but a lot of the show just didn't make any sense.
Unfortunately, the changes didn't really affect the series' bad luck. By the time production on Season 2 was starting, the bosses who had greenlit the pickup at Fox had been replaced by a new regime that hated the show almost as much as ABC's executives did and had no interest in actually supporting. A crossover episode with The Simpsons itself, meant to help launch the new season, is today remembered by many Simpsons fans as one of that series' classics, but creator Matt Groening was against the gimmick at the time and publicly lashed out against it. The ratings, while not bad, didn't end up being enough to overcome the new executives' dislike, and the Critic not only found itself cancelled again, but denied a third channel hop to UPN largely because of paperwork issues. It would later resurface in reruns on Comedy Central and elsewhere. The character would return once more for a third pseudo-season in the form of short subjects on pre-YouTube streaming site Atom Films, but they're kinda bad and you don't need to watch them. The complete series, shorts and all, was released on DVD collection that's today pretty easy to find and that I'd call a must-pick-up for TV animation fans. It's not The Simpsons, but it captures a unique energy and moment in time for American comedy, a love letter to transition period New York City of the 90s that's not exactly Seinfeld dark, but also not Friends cloying and obnoxious. Does the Critic still matter, though, outside of being an animation fan curiosity and/or a 90s nostalgia relic? Honestly, I think it might be more relevant than ever, yeah. Not necessarily in terms of its cultural reference points, most of which, yes, are grounded firmly in the realm of 90s big-budget studio banality, but if part of the reason that the series didn't take off in its own era was that audiences had trouble relating to a character with his own broadcast review show, well, today it feels like there are more people, young people especially, writing about and/or reviewing media as a career, or at least a desired career, than ever before.
Attention, LA street gangs! Why kill each other when there are more deserving movie executives just miles from your home? Their addresses are...
Viewer advisory. The rest of this review contains incitements to violence, foul language, rubber novelty poop, and brief nudity.
Good night, everybody. Join me in 30 days for my review of our overcrowded penal system.
But even beyond the exponentially larger pool of pros, semi-pros, and eager amateurs hurling their vlogs, blogs, and reaction videos out into the ether, it's also true that the advent of social media has made all of us intimately familiar with being judged by legions of strangers for daring to share our opinion on this movie or that TV show, making this quintessentially 90s TV comedy writer self-insert avatar of stymied pop intellectual elitism somehow hilariously a generational icon 23 years before his time. In a world where the old adage that everyone's a critic has become a dystopian truism, we are all Jay Sherman now.
You did like the Lion King. You're mean.
Hey man, it could have been worse. You could have had to tell people that the new Spider-Man movie was only good. I mean, whew, can you imagine? Hey gang, here's a question that keeps coming up. If your handle is moviebob, where are your movie reviews? Well, my old reviews are in a lot of places. You'll find many of them on my YouTube channel, but you'll find the brand new ones on geek.com, an awesome site that's also your one-stop news source for science, TV, gaming, technology, nerd culture, the works. You can find all my reviews directly by going to geek.com/author/bchipman, because that's my real name, and you can get regular updates on all my reviews and all of geek.com's other great content by signing up for their kick-ass newsletter at subscribe.geek.com. And don't forget to also subscribe to the Geek.com YouTube channel, where you'll find the videos that accompany my reviews and tons of other great content too. Remember, that's Geek.com, the Geek.com newsletter, and Geek.com on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss out on all the latest MovieBob reviews. You can also check out my own new website, MovieBob Central, where you'll find my blog, links to all my work, and shop for my books, ebooks, and future MovieBob products. And please remember to like these videos, share them with all of your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching another MovieBob production.